These notes will help you fill out the bottom flap of Section 5 of your Unit 3 Quadratic Functions flipbook. The essential question for this particular video is, how do I find a quadratic function from a graph? How do I find a quadratic function from a graph? Now, in the previous video, we were able to find a quadratic function from a graph when the vertex was at 0, 0. In this video, we're going to show you that you can find the quadratic function for any graph. It doesn't matter where the vertex is at. It's not a whole lot more complicated to do this procedure than it was the previous procedure. So here are the steps to complete this. Step number 1, start with the vertex function form. So you're going to start off writing out what a function is going to look like if it's in vertex form. This is a times x minus h squared plus k. There is our vertex function form. Step number 2, find the vertex from the graph. We can see here that our lowest point is right here on the graph. Class, whenever you have to do this, the vertex will always be in a place that's easy to identify. In this case, it's on the grid. So the vertex here is at -2, -1. -2, -1. So for step 2, we're going to go ahead and write the vertex is at -2, -1. Step 3, find h and k and substitute in. So we know that for the vertex, if we found the vertex is -2, -1, this first value is our h value, and this second value is our k value. Since the vertex is at hk, we have our h value and our k value. Let's go ahead and substitute them into our equation. So now we're going to write the same equation as step 1, f of x is equal to, only now we're going to write a, we're going to go ahead and put in x, and then remember class, the minus sign is part of the equation, so if h is -2, we flip the sign. It's going to be +2 in our equation, squared, and our k value is -1. We keep the sign, we keep the sign of the k value, and that is -1. So there is our function. We just solved two things. We found h and we found k. Step number 4, replace x and f with the known point. And they gave us a known point on the parabola. It's at -4, 1. Okay, so this is step number 4. I'm sorry, I think I got these steps wrong. I think I got them right. So step number 4 is going to be, let's put that in blue, replace x and f of x with the known point. So our known point on our graph is at -4, +1. We know the -4 is our x value, the +1 is our y value. So we can go ahead now and plug those into our equation. And we're going to have, for step number 4, we're going to have f of, not going to write f of x. We know f of x is our y value, that's 1. F of x changes to 1. A is still unknown. Our x value from our known point is -4. So we're going to have -4 + 2 squared minus 1. Now look class, from step 4 we see everything now has been solved except for the value of a, and that's what we have to do, is figure out the value of a. Step 5 says exactly what I just said. We have to solve for a. I'm going to go ahead and write this in red to make it look different. So solve for a. Let's go ahead and do that. Remember PEMDAS, parentheses first. 1 equals a. -4 + 2 is -2. That's going to be squared minus 1. PEMDAS, the e in PEMDAS is exponents next. So 1 is equal to -2 squared is 4. I'll put that in the front of the a now. So 4a minus 1. Now we can go ahead and subtract or add 1 to both sides. Remember, we do that. We're going to move that 1 over. So we're going to add 1 to both sides. And we're going to end up with 2 is equal to 4a. And now we're going to divide both sides by 4. And we're going to end up with, let's write this in green, we're going to end up with the 4's cancel. And we're going to end up with 2 over 4 equals a. So therefore a is equal to 2 over 4, which we can simplify to be 1 over 2. So our a value turns out to be 1/2. And now that we found the value of a, we've solved for a. Step 6, our final step is, let's go ahead and write that in orange. Step number 6, let's write our final function. We're going to go back to step number 1 now and just write f of x is equal to a, which is 1 over 2. We found that out. X is going to be our variable again. We know that we're going to put plus 2 here because that was found as our vertex. -2 was our x value of our vertex. So x plus 2 squared minus 1. So if you look, class, I actually went back to step number 3. I wrote the exact same equation or function with the h value and the k value plugged in. All I did now was plug in the value of a. And here is your final answer. There is your function. This function actually will create this parabola. Let's go ahead and do the next one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop this video now because the next video is going to show us how to create a quadratic function from a table rather than the graph. Class, on this one, again, this is one of the most difficult things you will do in this section. Learn these steps. They're very straightforward. Find the vertex, plug it in, take the known point, plug it in. That will always give you an equation with everything filled out except for the value of a. Use your Integrated Math 1 algebra skills to solve for a, and then once you find a, you know h, and you know k. Plug those 3 values in and your function is complete.